Hi, welcome to Overdrive. There's a lot of excitement and there's a lot of buzz that is brewing in the Indian motorsport circle because we are all set to welcome the world's first city-based racing league. Now, it is being called the Extreme One Racing League and it is being backed by young as well as extremely established Indian racers, Aditya Patel and Armaan Ebrahim. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Today, my first question to you is, how did the concept of the Extreme One Racing League in India come about?
Well, we both just we've been traveling together the last 3 years for our races because it's been on the same weekend. Pretty much stuck with each other on the same flight, same hotel, same rental car. And then after a point, we just ran out of stuff to talk about. And so obviously most of our discussion was on racing, and that slowly led to talking about doing a league in India. And of course, we go to the gym as well together every day. And one morning we said, let's just sit together, put pen to paper. Enough of talking. And then we just sat together and we put a format together. It turned out to be quite interesting to look at. We floated it by a few people, they liked it, and then the league was born.
So we have come across ideas of racing leagues before. There has been the I1 Super Series, which was pitched a couple of years ago, as well as we've seen racing leagues for motorcycles, but that didn't seem to work out as well. What makes your racing league completely different? What is the USP?
We've spoken to people who've, we've spoken to various different series, spoken to people who've run various series, attempted to run series, various different series, leagues, whatnot. We learned what their shortcomings were, learned, from the mistakes, learned what didn't work and what worked and what the right way was. And then we figured out and realized that our agenda was actually quite different to what they were trying to achieve. We've come up with something that is very, very India-centric, and that will pertain to the Indian market, and we think it really work here.
Okay, so just to add on a bit, what do you think didn't work apart from the fact that it was not India-centric?
We basically customized it for the Indian market in terms of formats, etc. because now all our attention spans are literally nothing, right? We can't sit and watch one event for too long. So on that front, we made it a shorter format. It's not as long as Formula One, it's quite short. We've got a few races a day, so instead of watching one long race, you watch 3 short races. Then you have a break in the middle, you have stuff to do all around the circuit, so that's one side of it. And the other side of it is, trying to make it equal as possible, having women race against men on the same track, on the same day. No separate category, no mixed doubles format, nothing like that. It's pure head-to-head racing. And then also in terms of engineering, to give an opportunity to Indian engineers, be it men or women, who've always wanted to be racing engineers. They go study abroad. We know a lot of people who engineer cars abroad, but we also know a lot of people who find it hard to find jobs because for some reason the Indian motorsport engineering market is not very, very popular worldwide.
We were hoping that this would be a launchpad not only for the drivers but for the technical side as well.
Yes, there's a bunch of USPs.
So if you can just share with me, what is the business model for this racing league?
So basically we've got 8 city-based franchises. Right? We want an IPL style racing league, and the idea is to bring in more sponsors to the sport, to bring more corporates, more enthusiasts, more individuals. We have seen that increase over the last few years, and now we just want to give people a platform to do it. Right? And we feel that we're very competitively priced in terms of the cost of the team, and because when we look at all the other leagues and we look at what they charge for, for like a volleyball league or a table tennis league in terms of the franchise, we're pretty competitively priced, and then in return for that money, the teams get a whole lot more in terms of the fact that they get the cars are included, the drivers are included, the cost of the crew, etc. is included. Plus, we have a minimum guarantee in terms of returns with our revenue every year. The teams are free to bring in sponsors of their own, so that they can, recover for their costs, if any. Of course, they're buying into the franchise, so it is some money. So yeah. So we do have a format which is very team-centric, to try and give them the best possible opportunity
or
to
business model which makes sense for them, basically, where they see their returns coming back.
So what can you tell me about the meteor chunk of this racing league, which is of course the race car? Are you going the custom engine or the custom chassis way? Can you tell me anything about that?
Well, we're working on it right now.
We're looking at options. We have options, but it's going to be again like a prototype, which will have like a LP2 car, 2 seats. But we're working on a couple of options, and in the near future we'll be able to tell you which one we've decided upon, which the manufacturer of the chassis, the manufacturer of the engine, and everything basically.
First year we want everything to be equal, and we're looking at a car that will produce about 250 to 280 bhp.
So what is the race format that you're looking at for the race weekends that are going to take place?
It would be a 2-day weekend ideally. I mean, in terms of the racing, and so Saturday in the morning you'd start with your practice, one session of practice and a qualifying, but both days would have 3 races. So each weekend would have 6 races, and each race would be a different format. We're still customizing. We've come up with a basic plan, but we're still customizing that. And in the future we will let you know the exact agenda of the 3 races. But we can tell you that each race would be completely different to one another. So that's what makes it so exciting, and it mixes the grid up. It keeps mixing the grid up, so it makes the racing also all the more exciting as well. And it's great for fan engagement because they are always eager to find out what the next one beholds, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing we've had for sure. The second thing is we're definitely going to have street races, and street races always make things exciting because it's all close and compact, and secondly it attracts a lot of people because you're taking it to the people. You're not expecting people to come all the way to watch you race.
Okay. So are there a lot of challenges that you have faced in terms of getting the idea of street racing in India to be sanctioned?
Yeah, basically at the get-go, obviously we had to meet a lot of people on the government front to be able to get permissions to use their roads. We did shortlist a few cities, and then we went and met the government and the municipality of each location. We got positive responses from most of them, and we have gone ahead, we've done surveys in a few locations, and we've sent these final drawings to the FIA for approval. So we're going through the whole procedure as we're supposed to. Everything is going on time. The FIA also is very supportive for our format, which is quite good. And yeah, let's see, in the next few months we can give you more information.
So how many teams are we going to see in this racing league, and how many drivers? What is the make of the drivers? Can you tell me more?
We're looking at 8 teams which have 16 cars, 32 drivers, which means it's 4 drivers per team, 2 drivers per car, so there will be a pit stop where they swap drivers. The 4 drivers will consist of an international male and international female, Indian driver racing abroad, and an Indian driver racing the domestic championship basically. And a 5th driver will be a development driver, a young driver coming up who will be there as a development driver.
Okay.
So they will be competing in the league, but post the league, for the rest of the year, we will have a 6 to 12 round series basically, which is called where the patrons take part. Either the franchisee or he can nominate someone to drive with, like the Indian domestic driver, and they can score bonus points in certain ways for their overall league table. So that has a lot of engagement with the franchisee or the people involved as well, because once they get engaged, they're not just their team owners, but they get to drive and they get to associate with their brand themselves.
So just like we've seen in the IPL series, will there be a bidding for the race drivers as well? How do you plan to go about it?
It's going to
It's a
work,
draft.
yeah, a draft system. A little different from IPL, but I think this way, the first year at least it's a lot more. It creates a lot more equality. I mean, it gives everyone a fair opportunity, and it also helps them strategize without really. This way, at least the budget's all set it's centralized in their fee. So they're just strategizing in terms of what would suit their team best in terms of performance, rather than trying to throw in more and more money.
So have you come up with a concrete plan to televise this event? Are you going to be approaching broadcasters?
Yeah, with the broadcaster, definitely. I mean, again, since our press release, since we've announced it, we've had a lot of traction. We've had some discussions, and that is going on. But not, apart from a broadcaster that would reach the mass audience and everyone, we also definitely look at the future OTT, and we definitely want to go through that platform as well. Through both of them, I think we reach all sectors.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today, and all the very best for the upcoming racing league.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.